Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of ZEFE. Today's opening bell, or how we call it here in Romania, ZEFE, Deschiderea de astăzi. Today we're discussing with Peter de Boer. Peter, he's the CEO of AGRAR. AGRAR being the biggest farm company in the southern Eastern Europe. Peter, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Great to be back on your show.
Thank you very much for being here with us. Peter, let's see. You published you announced the financial results yesterday. How are they? And what do you think of the market reaction? We had there at one point -6%. In the afternoon, it went around -1, -2%.
Yeah, so it is clear that for the dairy industry this year worldwide, it's a tough year. I mean, we had a significant reduction of sales price all over the world, but especially also in Europe. In our case, it resulted in Q1 with 30% and also in Q2, so that maintained. We didn't see an increase there. Now slowly on in Q3, we see some recovery, let's say, but on that part, it's a tough year. Next to that, of course, we have the crisis in the Middle East. Think of fuel prices, etc. Certain sanctions. So it is really a tough year, especially after the last couple of years that we had significant growth in milk price. Nevertheless, I think what the AGRAR management team succeeded to do is significantly reduce production costs to maintain margins. So we still kept a margin of 15% profit margin, which I think it's really a success for the market we were in the first half year. And of course, we had I think one of the main concerns was also the exchange rate. I mean, we have a significant impact of the exchange rate, as we saw that the difference of euro to RON grow with around 5%. So that had a clear impact on Q1 as well. So I think a clear impact was a 30% reduction of sales price, exchange rate, as well, of course, with our Straja farm. That is a farm that's sold on the spot market. As the majority of our milk is contracted to large factories, but because we are building our own processing plant, which will open in September, we didn't contract the milk from the Straja farm. So all that milk needed to be sold on the spot market, which had a big impact because up to end of July, there we still sold the milk for under 40 euro cents, even close to 30 or 33 euro cents. And now from August, what we see there is also that the milk from Straja is sold for 40 euro cents plus. So at least slowly we see some recovery, but that's where the main influences for Q1.
A slow recovery. You mentioned this kind of recovery in the third quarter. What segments do you feel that are being pushed forward in terms of recovery, and what drives the growth?
Well, the growth for the coming year, or still this year, should help is the processing plant, so where we will sell skimmed milk and cream. And especially if you look to the last period, or when can this factory significantly add value, is when Romanian prices are lower and South European prices are significantly higher. And that is what we saw also in the last couple of months. We saw already milk price in Greece over 50 euro cents per liter, while in Romania it was still under 40 euro cents, etc. So there are big margins to take, and the processing plant really helps us, first of all, to significantly reduce transportation costs. So to give you an idea, is currently 100,000 liters need to be transported by 4 trucks. Due to this processing plant, we can transport the same amount with 1 truck. So when there is a significant gap between the local price in Romania, Bulgaria, etc., and Greece and Italy, it is a clear, it will give clear benefits. Still, of course, cream and skimmed milk is a commodity, so still it's not a contract that you close for 3 months. So, but this is what starts in September. So this will start slowly on, but it will take time to build the market, to build up your network, to do those trades ourselves. But it should first of all help to reduce transportation costs, as well as that we can bring it to markets where there is a more beneficial sales price. Secondly, of course, the compost slowly on starts to pick up. So we will also sell a part in Q3 and especially in Q4. So that should generate other revenues. And of course, the recovery of the sales price itself of milk. So that should come from Strasia. In Strasia, we're constantly growing in milk production. Only by the end of next year, we will have the farm fully occupied. So in the coming years, there should still come growth from. And now what we see with the milk price is at least our contracted milk price is already, at least for 2 months, over 40 euro cents. But the main issue was the Strasia farm, as I said, where we sold 33, 34 euro cents, etc. on the market. And now since the 1st of August, we will be able to set better prices on the spot market, at least over 40 euro cents. So our milk prices, they vary now per farm between 40 and 45 euro cents, which should really contribute in the coming months. But I must say the recovery, it's not a clear stable recovery. On the long term, it is clearly what the reaction is, but we need to see exactly in which month it starts to speed up.
Subsidies. I've read in the report almost 22 million RONs, so that's nearly 50% increase. How come? And what would the net revenue look like without these subsidies?
Yeah, so what we mentioned in our report is a non-current event, or let's say. So what happened this year is that the Romanian government decided to move apart from the agricultural subsidies to the dairy subsidies. Although currently it's really unclear if that will happen next year again. But there is no direction that it wouldn't happen or that it will happen. So we need to be careful with non-recurrent, let's say. It could be clearly possible that this will be permanent. This is something we don't know yet. To come back to your answer, of course, it helped in Q2. As I said, mainly we had this influence of the exchange rate of over 8 million. So the profit would then be around on GAP on the local legislation around 10 million.
What did it change for the government to take that decision? What do you feel like? Was it the lobby? Was it the business decision? What do you think?
Well, I think by the end of the day, as it was mentioned, it was to support the dairy sector. So the dairy sector had it really difficult. I mean, what a lot of people maybe don't understand, we had in big parts of Europe where farmers were selling in the last couple of months for 0 euro cents their milk. They were just happy that it was picked up, or we had milk price of 2 euro cents or 12. We didn't have this, but a lot of farmers had this. So it was a clear support for the industry itself. But as the dairy sector faces, especially in Romania, we see a lot of farmers quitting, etc. We still have to a certain degree quite some political influence, I would say. So I wouldn't be surprised if next year something like this would happen again. But for now, for this year, it was a clear, probably through lobby, but also to maintain the current industry in the country. Let's say the dairy industry.
Peter, you've mentioned the foreign exchange impact, let's say, and my question is, how sensitive is the full year profit to further RON depreciation, and if you take into consideration some bonds financing?
To first answer the last part of your question, no, so far we don't look for bonds. A simple answer is that we attracted this year a lot of investments from ING, only already 13.5 million euros. So we don't think for the coming period that will be necessary, although we don't exclude it in principle, let's say. But for the current projects, we obtained financing. To come back to the exchange rate, yes, this year it has a significant impact. To give you a bit of an idea is, so if we would have another increase of 5% of the euro, it would mean another financial loss on paper of 8.5 million, let's say. But it will be the other way around as well. So if we see an increase of a decrease of the euro or an increase of the RON with 5%, of course, it would result in a gain. So that's more what it could mean.
A 5% depreciation would be catastrophic for the economy only for this year. So not only for the AGRAR, for the entire economy. Two standards again in the financial report, IFRS and the other ones. Which one should investor anchor in and compare the financial results? And when will it, let's say, unifies the results, the reporting financial results?
Yeah, first, if I may, one more remark on the exchange rate,
Yes.
or on your last comment. Of course, I fully agree that it would be quite disastrous. Why do we finance all our loans in euro? It started with the Russian aggression in Ukraine. At that time, we had financing in Rome, and it increased our interest rate of over 10% at that time. And that time, we were able to reduce it to 6% interest rate. Currently, all the contracts that we close, we have interest rate of 1.5% on all our loans from ING and Exim, plus with ING 1 month Euribor and Exim 6 month Euribor. Of course, if we would still finance in lei or result in lei, we would have significantly higher interest rate. And secondly, is now that we start the processing plant as well with the compost, we will have more euros in the future in the company, as these two projects, those products mainly will be sold outside of Romania and to Euro countries. If we go to your latest question to IFRS or GAAP, I mean, internally, we are completely transformed to IFRS, so we would advise to do IFRS. It also reflects, to a greater extent, the real value of the DN Group. Why? Because you have a constant valuation of your assets. So we have a constant every 3 months, we have a real valuation of our stocks, of our animals, etc. So it gives the most current or most up-to-date picture and realistic picture of the company. Then probably you would ask why then don't publish, because also the figures look significantly better in IFRS than on GAAP. Is that this year it's a transition year, and also in Q1 we published the local legislation. So at least for Q2, we wanted to stick to that procedure. But from an investor point of view, when you do your calculations, of course, we advise everyone to use the IFRS metrics, which is the internationally accepted standard.
Peter, I got 3 more questions I have noted here. Processing plant was due to start commercial output in August. You've mentioned about it with first sales in September. What's the calendar? What's the schedule here?
Yeah, so the processing plant is more or less finalized. So now what we start to do is testing, first with air, then with water. If there still maybe needs some welling needs to be done, and we estimate that we will start with small amount of liters, because I mean the production plant has a capacity of 300,000 liters per day. If it would run 24 hours, but of course it is mainly built for the Straja farm, where we will have next year a production of 150,000 liters per day, and that can easily handle that plant where it is built. So we will start in the coming weeks in September to finalize testing and to start the first sales of cream and skimmed milk. In the beginning, mainly we will sell the local market. So we discuss with our largest clients to test the product and to offtake it. And we see that there is clear interest. And then I would say after 1 month, 6 weeks, if everything runs, we will start to focus. As well as if the quantities are large enough, we will start to look to focus mainly to Greece, Italy, to sell the skimmed milk and cream. For now, that looks quite good, as those prices, as well as that we could take out the water out of the milk, prices look significantly better than currently what is paid in Romania, let's say. So there we could have some extra gains, but okay, that's only for a few months this year, so I don't expect a significant contribution from the factory itself, let's say.
Are you in the line with the budget?
Well, that's a triggering question, let's say. So for now, we will not adapt the budget. We will see if the price really picks up from September, etc., the milk price, and probably will come update with a budget if necessary. somewhere by the end of September, beginning of October, if we find it necessary. Anyway, what we said before is if there is a significant change expected, and we would say a significant change is more than 10 or 15% of the budget, of course we will come up with an update. Of course, if we look to the figures of today, it would probably make sense to come up with an update, but at least now from August we clearly see a recovery, as I said, especially from the Deschiderea farm, that finally we start to sell also there above 40 euro cents again. So that should give somehow a push, as well as if we look to the agricultural year itself, it's really a successful agricultural year for us. So Triticale was we had a significant higher number of tons harvested. Corn is best in I don't know how many years, but for many years we will have a really successful corn harvest. We will have a really successful Lucerne harvest. So that looks really good also for the second part of this year and next year. And we even think that we will have enough from certain crops that we could even store it longer for the year after. So although there's a lot of pressure on sales price, on exchange rate, if we look from an operational point of view, I mean, we produced almost 20% more liter milk in the first half year. The Deschiderea farm is currently growing. The processing plant is finalized. Yeah, we think better times are clearly coming.
Is the draft and the bad weather conditions, are they included in the risks?
Yes, they are included in the risk. I said for the drought, we were not really affected this year. Where, of course, now in August, where we are affected by, and as well as in July, is that we had really hot periods. So, of course, the animals are affected and they will get heat stress, which means they have lower milk production. Next to that is that in July, we have a lot of cows in the last period of pregnancy. So the last 6 weeks, close to 6 weeks of pregnancy, the cows, they don't give milk. So there will also now in August and especially in September, a lot of cows are calving. So we will see another increase, a more significant increase from September and October onwards, which with an increasing milk price, of course, will give an extra push to the results.
I've noticed in the operating income section that other operating income more than doubled to 4.6 million RON, mostly from selling, I'm not sure how you translate it in English, like surplus animals. And my question to you was how much of that is, let's see, recurring in a normal year, and if there are chances that it will happen next year. If you can explain what are those kind of sales.
Yeah, no, we sell all year. Every year we sell animals. Okay, why did we sell a relatively higher number of animals this year? Had two reasons. Normally, if you have an optimal farm, you should replace 1/3 of your herd every year. Our replacement rate is around 18%, which is from industry standards too low. Why is this reason? We are a fast-growing company, constantly opening new farms, so we more or less need all the animals. But now that we faced, as a group, the first half year, such a level of decrease in sales prices, it's not cost effective to keep all the animals, because you have animals who give lower number of liters or are old or whatsoever, and yeah, you don't cover the cost with the lower milk price. So, and we still had a high meat price on the market. So that's the reason we decided to sell a higher amount of animals. Nevertheless, that is more or less finalized this process in the first half year. So we will see an increase in number of animals in the second half of the year. But every year we sell animals. Like generally, a cow produces or is in our farms up to 5 to 6 years on average. So, and after they get sold either to other farmers or to slaughterhouses.
There's a transaction there mentioned in the report, Panorganic Vitavit for 750 euros, but the assets are valued near 3 million euros. What explains the gap, and when will the deal close?
Yeah, so we are working hard to finalize the deal. So I really hope in the coming weeks that is our goal. And although it was not necessarily well received by the market, which yeah, quite surprised me. But why are we entering this business? I mean, we have for several years announced in our strategy, 2025-2030 strategy, that we start to diversify. Why do we want to diversify? Especially, there's a clear example this year. If you have a huge correction on the milk market and you're in the commodity industry, especially as a large player as us, you have a risk of significant fluctuation. So somehow our goal is in the coming years to find a more balanced approach of revenue streams, etc., and to make our business model more resilient. Panoramix, why we think this is a really interesting option is, and why the affordable or relatively low sales price. It's a brand new greenhouse of lettuce production as well as basil production. It's only 3 years old. As well, it has 14 hectares of own property there, so you can easily expand. And why is the low price? Is that the company who sells has a liquidity issue, or the company who's behind it. It's a foreign fund. Although don't want to go too deep into that. It's their thing. But more or less, they really need to sell, and this company is obtained at that time with a grant. Which means the company needs to run up to 2030. Otherwise, the owner needs to repay the AGRAR grant, let's say. So there's a lot of pressure on their side. We think this is really interesting. As I said, yeah, the company is clearly a value at least of 3 to 4 million. There is a few things that we will do from the beginning. We will implement everywhere LED lighting, which means we can double the light output. And for same electricity cost or for same electricity consumption, we will take out the basil line and it will be a full lettuce production center. And I'm aware that if you now look on the financials of this company or whatsoever, okay, you see a lot of debts, etc. But this will be all solved because it will be delivered with a clean balance sheet, meaning that intra-group loans will be converted into own capital. So this will be all solved, as well as currently the greenhouse for 1/3 it is empty. To give you an idea, we will have support from a consultancy firm to directly implement and train a local team there, and the benefit there as well is that it sells currently already to some of the largest retailers in the country. So it gives us also the relationship already with some large supermarket or retailer chains, let's say, in preparation for the larger development food cluster.
It sounds great, let's say on paper, but you mentioned that the market didn't quite well receive this idea. How come?
Well, honestly, I really don't understand. So we had that day, I think a 4% loss or something like this. But yeah, but okay, internally for us it sounds really like a no-brainer. I mean, we have announced this strategy a long time ago, so no one can be surprised. Or you didn't read our strategy. Secondly, you get asset value of at least 3 million extra, let's say, and in those 14 hectares, you have an operating facility with a clean balance sheet. And as I said, why is this price so low? That has mainly to do with the seller's problems and with this AGRAR grant. That in case the company would go bankrupt, you need to repay several millions of euros of AGRAR grant. So I think it is one of the easiest crops to grow. You can fully automate this. Yeah, so I would say, but we will prove in the coming months, or it is enough to prove that it was a good decision, let's say. But yeah, why this was not perceived well, I really don't understand, honestly. So you should ask the traders, let's say.
And the last question, basically like a follow-up questions. If we are to zoom out, since then AGRAR started its debut on the stock exchange in 2022, the stock went up by around 500%. That's the zoom out. But in the last year, it's up around 20% under the market, under the growth of the BET index. Why do you think it went like this, and what can you do as a executive director to reduce the gap?
Several things that we are doing. We would like to to change the structure of our shareholding structure, meaning currently we have 5,600 retail investors. We have also some institutional investors. One of the large institutional investors holds 2% in the company. Our clear strategy is to attract mainly in the coming period institutional investors. Who think that would help at least or to reduce a little bit the volatility of our stock. So that is clear where we focus on. For that, we go currently on road shows in Europe and in Romania. So that is a clear strategy we are following up. Okay, these kind of things take time. I mean, they don't invest from tomorrow, so that can take a year or 6 or 8 months or whatsoever in preparation to the main market. Another another thing that we are implementing is to do the transfer to the main market, hopefully as soon as possible. I think that would help as well. It's a different type of investors that you have on the main market. So I think we're maybe main investors shocked, although we were really transparent, and that's we won even an award this year in London of best annual report small cap in all of Europe. What we tried to do also in the beginning of the year, we were extremely transparent where we showed, okay, we will have a tough year, we will have a significant reduction of milk price. We were completely transparent to share this at the beginning of the year. But I think if you look on the long term, the AGRAR is significantly investing. But if you also look to the milk price, all studies say that the average for the next decade is somewhere between 48 to 53 euro cents, etc. Okay, we need to see which months this picks up, but especially next year, 2028 will be significant better years. Of course, this valuation is a concern. With a significant this year, it is a lot of fluctuation. The Middle East crisis, I think, for investors may be hard to estimate when recovery will start and when will it pick up. On the other hand, the AGRAR has proven since the beginning being listed to have an agile approach. We have shown a lot of adaptivity. I mean, we had a lot of crises, which started with the diversion crisis, now the Middle East crisis, and we have shown constant growth. As well, if you look to the fundamentals of the group this year, 20% milk growth in the first half year, implementing the Strasia farm. We have obtained the Koet farm, the Koet 2 farm, and for 2 additional composting lines. And the benefit there mainly is that we have 100% financing, so we don't have a cash contribution yet there, where we had with the previous investments. So all in all, we are not worried. Of course, on the short term, it remains challenging. I expect that it remains on the market. The second half year will be a bit better. That's our estimation. But we think that main growth will be bucked up from next year again.
Awesome, Peter. Thank you very much for the explanations, for taking your time, and best of luck in the transfer on the main market. And I'm looking even now that there are high chances you could also join the bet, because from what I can see here today, you have transactions that would equivalent a company from more than one company from Bet Index. So best of luck here, because you'll want to be on the ATF's radars and private pension funds. Thank you, Peter.
Yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, that is, of course, the dream of every company. Everything will become way easier when you're in that main market or in the Bet Index, let's say. So, of course, that is the goal where we're working hard for every day. Thank you very much for the invitation, and also I wish you a lovely day.
Yep, thank you. Mulțumim tare mult că ne-ați urmărit. Până data viitoare, fiți la Investi Câștigătoare. Numai bine!